I'm not supposed to tell you this, but WeCroak isn't a co-working space. It's a hospice. Bet that's just an empty office building. That's what they want you to think. I've been cleaning out dead startups with Die Combinator for 3 years. AI-generated work slop is destroying productivity. Oh no! Garbage quality work, that's terrible. Upset about Stripe? Nah, hazard of the trade. I don't really have time for funds anyway. It's weird though. They burned through it right between the rounds. Don't often see that. While AI has likewise doubled at work since 2023, yet a recent report from MIT Media Lab found that 95% of organizations see no measurable return on their investment. Whatever could that be? Why? So much activity, so much enthusiasm, so little return. Why? Sorry, I couldn't pitch today because I'm scared, okay? I opened my laptop right after the morning stand. There's a picture of Jenny's startup taped inside. As AI tools become more accessible, workers are increasingly able to quickly produce polished output. What even is it though? Well-formatted slides, long structured reports, seemingly articulate summaries about academic papers by non-experts. Others are using it to create content that is actually unhelpful, incomplete, or missing crucial context about the project at hand. Why? Yeah, sure. Jenny liked to code on her dad's MacBook Pro. She said the keyboard click helped her think, you know? I know for a fact she only vaped after a good spray. Don't you ask me or anyone else who wasn't scared to talk about it. Jenny was sabotaged, but Mark Zuckerberg never had to deal with crap like this. Toss me a USB-C dangle, would ya? The insidious effect of work slop is that it shifts the burden of the work downstream. That's very true. Yep, that is very true. Moves the world, baby. So Bear, with 1 week to go before your performance review, how are you preparing? I was finishing my PowerPoint, rehearsing quarterly metrics, brushing up on industry trends, and surviving on about 400 milligrams of caffeine. I was ready to fail spectacularly. That's not corporate excellence program language. Good. Because this isn't a corporate excellence program. Unlike this mental outsourcing to a machine, however, WorkSlop uniquely uses machines to offer cognitive work to another human being. When coworkers receive WorkSlop, they are often required to take on the burden of decoding the content, inferring missed or false context, a cascade of effortful and complex decision-making processes that may follow, including rework and uncomfortable exchanges with colleagues. Well, I'll be performing an interpretive dance called The Slow Death of Employee Morale. It's a 3-minute routine where I gradually lose the will to live while updating spreadsheets. That's remarkably dark for a talent show. The phenomenon occurs mostly between peers, 40%, but WorkSlop also sent to managers by direct reports. That's bold. That's a bold move. You're going to get fired. 16% of the time, WorkSlop flows down the ladder from managers to their teams. Ew. I bet Diane Sawyer never had to deal with performance reviews disguised as talent showcases. What's your talent category? Workplace survival. It's like regular survival, but with more passive aggression and fewer actual skills that transfer to real life. This is where startups go to die. Okay, I don't know why we're talking about startups. We've seen this before, not Slack. Okay, hello, this is narrator, and thanks for watching our Caddy interviews. We've got a couple of cool things, I think. Startup down rounds are at a 10-year high, according to PitchBook data. Cool. Chime. Let's go with Iceland. It's cute. These kids are so tiny. Adorable. All right. Is he sleeping? No, maybe it's sneezing. I don't know. Okay. Soaring valuations of the early 2020s are finally coming back to earth. This week, PitchBook data reveals that 50.9% of venture-backed data deals in 2025 so far have been down rounds, marking a decade high. Additionally, almost every major IPO listing in Q2 hit the public markets below its peak valuation. The data from PitchBook adds some examples include MNTN, Hinge, 6.2 billion. What? Really? People use it? I don't know. Dating scene. Okay. AI continues to be a bright spot in many ways, but isn't entirely exempt either. As 29.3% of down rounds were in PitchBook, broad AI machine learning vertical. Of course, the biggest names like AI, OpenAI, reportedly heading towards 500 billion. What even is that? That's crazy. And Anthropic reportedly raising 170 billion valuation continue to hit eye-popping levels. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I guess, yeah, because like everyone's using it, right? I mean, I'm using it. Some Snoop Dogg in the back. Oh, wait, classic. Love it. IPO market is, some would say, back. In Q2, venture-backed startups in the US generated 67 billion exit value. Very cool. Thank you, Ali Garfinkel. Love your name. Cute. AI-generated work slop is destroying productivity. Oh no. It's such a bummer. I'm just going to use AI to make garbage quality work. That's terrible. Okay, a confusing contradiction is unfolding in companies embracing generative AI tools. While workers are largely following mandates to embrace the technology, few are seeing it create real value. Why is that? Why do you think? I've been thinking about this. Let's see. Let's go on this journey with me. Consider, for instance, that the number of companies with fully AI-led processes nearly doubled last year, while AI, you hear that, Bear? That's your new job. While AI has likewise doubled at work since 2023. Yet a recent report from MIT Media Lab found that 95% of organizations see no measurable return on their investment in these technologies. Why? Whatever could that be? Why? So much activity, so much enthusiasm, so little return. Why? In collaboration with Stanford Medical Social Media Lab, our research team at Better Up Labs has identified one possible reason. Employees are using AI tools to create low effort, passable looking work that ends up creating more work for their coworkers. So, Bear, what do you think? Other people are using AI to fake work. I think that's what this article is saying. On social media, which is increasingly clogged with low quality AI generated posts, this content is often referred to as AI slop. In the context of work, we refer to this phenomenon as work slop. We define work slop as an AI generated work content that masquerades as good work, but lacks the substance to meaningfully advance a given task. Yes. Okay, here's how this happens. As AI tools become more accessible, workers are increasingly able to quickly produce polished output. What even is it though? Well formatted slides, long structured reports, seemingly articulate summaries of academic papers by non experts, and usable code. But while some employees are using this ability to polish good work, others are using it to create content that is actually unhelpful, incomplete, or missing crucial context about the project at hand. Why ever? Why? The insidious effect of work slop is that it shifts the burden of the work downstream. That's very true. Yeah, that is very true. Oy, oy, oy. Requiring the receiver to interpret, correct, or entirely redo the work. Jeez Louise. In other words, it transfers the effort from creator to receiver. So as a receiver, I would say, nope, send it back to the drawing board. Please fix ASAP. If you have ever experienced this all the time, you might recall the feeling of confusion after opening such a document, followed by frustration. Wait, what is this exactly? Before you begin to wonder if the sender simply used AI to generate large blocks of text instead of thinking it through. If this sounds familiar, you've been work slopped. According to our recent ongoing survey, which you can take, I would love to, Bet. Let's take a gander. Actually, yeah, let's do that. This is a significant problem. One of 1,150 base US full-time employees across industries, 40% report having received work slop in the last month. Employees who have encountered work slop estimate that an average of 15.4% of the content they receive at work qualifies. Ew. The phenomenon occurs mostly between peers, 40%, but work slop also sent to managers by direct reports. That's bold. That's a bold move. You're going to get fired. 16% of the time, work slop flows down the ladder from managers to their teams. Ew. Or even from higher up than that. Work slop occurs across industries, but we found that professional services and technology are disproportionately impacted. Yep. Here's what leaders need to know about work slop and how they can stop it from coming up the works at their company. Okay. The work slop tax. Cognitive offloading to machines is not a novel concept, nor are anxieties about technology hijacking cognitive capacity. In 2006, for instance, the technology journalist Nicholas Carr published a provocative essay in The Atlantic that asked, is Google making us stupid? The prevailing mental model for cognitive offloading, going all the way back to Socrates, concerns about the alphabet, is that we jettison. I'm curious about this. is that we jettison hard mental work to technologies like Google because it's easier to, for example, search for something online than to remember it. Oh, that's a good point. So now we have to always, as we always have as a species and society, consider what's the trade off? What's the trade off that's acceptable? Unlike this mental outsourcing to a machine, however, Workslop uniquely uses machines to offload cognitive work to another human being. When coworkers receive Workslop, they are often required to take on the burden of decoding the content, inferring missed or false context, a cascade of effortful and complex decision-making processes that may follow, including rework and uncomfortable exchanges with colleagues. Consider a few examples. When asked about their experience with Workslop, one individual contributor in finance described the impact of receiving that was AI generated. It created a situation where I had to decide whether I would rewrite it myself, make him rewrite it, or just call it good enough. It's furthering the agenda of creating a mentally lazy, slow thinking society that would be wholly dependent on outside forces. Well, that's going to make experts even more valuable than they are. In another case, a frontline manager in the tech sector described their reaction. It was just a little confusing to understand what was actually going on in the email and what he actually meant to say. It probably took an hour or two of time just to congregate everybody and repeat the information in a clear, concise way. A director in retail said, I had to waste more time following up on the information and checking it with my own research. I then had to waste even more time setting up meetings with the other supervisors to address the issue. I continued to waste my own time having to redo the work myself. Oh, what a time sink. Each incidence of work slop carries a real cost for companies. Employees reported spending an average of 1 hour and 56 minutes. Oh, God. 2 hours for each instance of work slop based on participants' estimate of time spent, as well as their self-reported salary. We find that these work slop incidents carry an invisible tax of $186 per month for an organization of 10,000 workers. Well, that's not that much, honestly, but 10,000 workers, but it's very annoying. Wow. Given the estimated prevalence of work slop, 41%, this yields over 9 million per year in lost productivity. Wow, Bear, we got to get you trained and also train people how to use you. Respondents also reported social and emotional costs of work slop, including problem navigating how to diplomatically respond to receiving it, particularly in hierarchical relationships. When we asked participants in our study to how it feels to receive work slop, 53% reported being annoyed, confused, and offended. I think offended, yeah, maybe. The most alarming cost may be interpersonal, low effort, unhelpful AI generated work is having a significant impact on collaboration at work. Approximately half of the people surveyed viewed colleagues who sent work slop as less creative, capable, and reliable than they did before receiving the output. 42% of them is less trustworthy. Yeah, because then you don't want them to give you more. Basically, it's like someone handing you a flyer and be like, well, I guess I'll put it in the trash. This may well echo recent research on the competency penalty for AI use at work, where engineers who allegedly use AI to write code snippet were perceived as less competent than those who didn't, and female engineers were disproportionately penalized. Wow, what do you know? Ooh. What's more, 34% of people who receive work slop are notifying teammates or managers of these incidents. Oh, geez, potentially eroding trust. 1/3 of people who have received work slop report being less likely to want to work with the center again in the future. That's fair. In some ways, this is not a new story. Gen AI gives us new technology. How can organizations avoid the outcome? How can they instead optimize for employee usage of AI that delivers measurable return on the significant investment in this transformative technology? Indiscriminate imperatives yield indiscriminate usage. When organizational leaders advocate for AI everywhere all the time, they model a lack of discernment on how to apply the technology. It's easy to see how this translates into employees thoughtlessly copying, pasting AI responses into documents, even when AI isn't suited to do the job at hand. Gen AI is not appropriate for all tasks, nor can it read minds. That is true. Mindsets matter. Our labs have been tracking predictors of Gen AI adoption across the workforce. Let's go. This is so long. I love you so much. And I will never AI summarize something. No. I'm sorry, Bear. We can talk about that later. So many of the tasks required to work well with AI, giving prompts, offering feedback, describing context, are all collaborative. Today's work requires more and more collaboration. Seamless collaboration in 2025 must include ways that we incorporate AI work products in our common workflows in service of shared outcomes rather than as a vehicle of subversely dodging responsibility. That's a good point. This is a new critical frontier of organizational citizenship behaviors that will differentiate between companies that maximize the value of AI and those who churn through AI activity without impact. Work slot may feel effortless to create, but exacts a toll on the organization. What a center perceives as a loophole becomes a hole the recipient needs to dig out of. Leaders who do best to model thoughtful AI use that has a purpose and intention set clear guardrails for your teams around norms and acceptable use. Yes. Good, that's good. All right. Welcome, Stanford. Okay, let's do it yourself. Okay, I have read. Yes, I consent. Let's go. Dallas. In the last month, how much of the work you receive from colleagues fixed subscription? Ah, I'll say 30%. I noticed it a lot more in junior colleagues that I'm just like, I'd rather just you do less work, but like good quality than a bunch of crap work. You indicated that of the work you received last month, 30% was AI generated. Looks like completes the testing work, but actually unhelpful or low quality. We compare to other people in the survey, 84 percentile. Ooh, okay. You said, please think about an actual example first who sent you this work. Someone lower level on another team. I can't remember work slop from. The most often people I get work slop from are people who are not experts masquerading as experts. I don't know how horribly embarrassing what they're trying to do is. Anyway, I'm not going to read that. No. Right, I'm so sorry. Overall, how much time did it take you to deal with this work? 0, because I just ignore it. Because I say, well, I'll just do my job and then you can have fun with whatever you're trying to do. I'm so sorry. I can't deal with that. I just do my own version and I'm like, okay, we can figure that out over there. How do receivings make you feel? Annoyed, frustrated, confused, happy? No. Impressed? Absolutely not. Okay, thinking about this week you received, how much mental effort did it require to understand, revise, or integrate into your work? Very high. So I'm like, what are you doing? What? Annoyed. Yeah, I think. Did we see this change your perception on the colleague? Less friendly, no change. Less intelligent, yeah. Less trustworthy, yeah. Less capable, yeah. Not even trying. Thank you for sharing. Please provide your best estimate. It did not affect your work, save your time. It did not. Did not save time. Time actually made work more complicated and less enjoyable. Let's not. I'm not gonna. No, we'll continue without that. You don't need to know this. I said you don't need to know this. What do we know? Income. What's your problem? Go to the end of the page. Oh, I can't answer like that. Fine, you win. What is this? Not going to say. Also not going to say. Also not going to say. Agriculture. How do we say government? Farmer? Maybe. No, that's it. No, that was cool. Okay. Salesforce. Oh, this was kind of a bummer. So we're going to move on quickly. Salesforce CEO confirms 4,000 layoffs because I need less heads. Less heads. Salesforce has cut 4K of its customer support roles. That's a lot. CEO Mark Benioff recently said while discussing how AI has helped reduce company headcount. I've reduced, almost 50% because I need less heads. Because of the benefits and efficiencies of agent force, we've seen the number of support cases we handle decline, and we no longer need to actively backfill support engineer roles. The layoffs come over Benioff. Some announced AI is doing up to 50% of the work at Salesforce. Oh, okay. There have been layoffs all over America directly attributed to AI. If your network could get your job, it would have done it already. If you have done it, it would have done it yesterday. It's on you to expand your vision, your horizons, and meet new people. Ay, 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 spicy, sir. It's just a growth at all cost mindset. Jeez, Louise, this is such a bummer. That's why I was like, oh, let's get please. This is Zombie, YC Graveyard, 825, 821 inactive Y Combinator startups. Unicorns. They come unicorns and startups that fold. Okay. Top 10. What is this? Top 10 AI startups are now worth over $1 trillion. Are we in a bubble? The AI boom that began with ChatGPT debut 3 years ago hasn't cooled. in August. What's going on here? Valuation 500 billion. That's kind of crazy. Musk's XAI isn't far behind, seeking 10 billion more in funding for a 200 billion valuation. Like, how do you go? Like, I don't even understand. How do you convince people, rich dudes, to pay you 500 billion, and then some other rich dudes pay you 200 billion, or promise to? Is that how that works? I don't know. Are we in a bubble? But there's a divide. Some companies earn their valuations through sticky products, strong revenue, and lasting demand. Others balloon on hype alone. Oh, this is what I call bubble coins. Startups puffed up by investor mania, glossy headlines, and easy money, fragile like soap bubbles and prone to bursting. WeWork once climbed to 47 billion before collapsing into bankruptcy. Oh, yeah. Theranos raised 700 million on smoke and mirrors. That's such a bummer, that lady. Okay, AI has become the accelerant. Slapping AI on a pitch deck is now enough to raise hundreds of millions, sometimes billions. The gold rush mentality is alive and well, and history suggests not every one of these bets will stand the test of time. Okay, top 10. We got our top 10. We got OpenAI, we got XAI, we got Anthropic. I don't know what Databricks is. You guys should check it out. Perplexity, Mistral, I've heard about them. I think they're French, right? Clean, Cohere, Upbridge. Oh, okay, that's it. That's boom, that's it. Postmortems. Now that we're talking about startups, I just wanted to see, why did it happen? Time staggered. Let's see. Venture funding rebounds. Modestly remains depressed. Paired with other headwinds like evolving consumer trends, regulatory hurdles, and even organizational missteps, the slowdown has forced plenty of startups to shut their doors since our last update. That's kind of a bummer. 73 million is the lowest on the list. What count? Olive. Are they open or no? Sequoia Capital, Tiger Global. You know what? This episode was kind of a little bit by startups, but Convoy, this is more like, hey, meet these startups. Now we know what they are. Digital freight network that attracted investors like Bezos. Hyperloop One, that sounds kind of cool by name. High-speed transportation. Ooh. I want to know about this. Is it dead though? Oh no. Is this whole thing dead? Oh man, it is. I think this would close shop though. Maybe we'll check this out. Why do startups here? This is a pretty cool video, honestly. I'm not gonna watch it, but he did say something like, your users are your patients and you're the doctor as the startup company. But yeah, thank you, Harsh. Love you. It's great content. Bye.